Welcome back, everybody. So, when you're doing a live show and you're speaking stuff, as I'm sure that your nominee for president is well aware, sometimes you get things wrong. Just want to run that back. The last thing. So I was right about Estonia, but no, Poland does spend at least, if not slightly more than 2% of their GDP. Greece does as well, and Great Britain is one of the last major countries, but France doesn't, Germany doesn't, Turkey doesn't, Italy doesn't. I mean, and these are figures from back in April, but I doubt they've changed very much by now. So that's the. So in a world where Poland got invaded, I'm sure that Donald Trump wouldn't have a problem with it. But in a world where Turkey gets taken over by ISIS, that would be a problem for him if they hadn't paid their fair share. Yes. He'd probably tear himself apart because he wouldn't know what to do.
It's part of the thing is, how sometimes we get a dust up with Europe, and you really don't understand why we're having a dust up with them. It's those little tiny details that trip you up. And he didn't say it the way he should have. I freely admit that. But what he said is what a lot of fiscal conservatives have already said. If you're not holding up your end of the alliance, you're not part of the alliance.
But not foreign policy conservatives. That's the whole point. Donald Trump has been approaching all of these questions, whether it be domestic economic policy or foreign policy, in this zero-sum transactional way that does not reflect reality or the complex interests that are in play. If you are going to, if you come out and you say, and all those folks that don't pay into NATO, we're going to just blow the whole thing up. You have France, which is a major partner, a major ally, a country with a lot of connection to the United States that we have a very good relationship with, just turns that on its head. So you have a president comes out, and all of a sudden France isn't with us anymore, and France is looking elsewhere to do business, or looking elsewhere you're looking to Russia, maybe in an extreme example.
Just like Turkey, what Turkey's doing right now.
Turkey's desperate to get into the European Union. The European Union won't let them, and is making it hard, and that's why Turkey's having the sorts of problems that they're having. They're still a member of NATO. They're still an ally of ours, and we support them, and we have. But that's the issue. So an important ally in a strategic location like Turkey, or in the middle in that part of the world, doesn't pay their fair share. Trump would say, "That's fine. It's fine. We're going to renegotiate with them. That's fine. We don't care about them anymore." And you can't. And you know better than that. You know that's not how it works in foreign policy. There are more interests other than this dollars and cents idea. And serious foreign policy conservatives have criticized him about that.
Well, and the truth is I would criticize him as well. I truly don't know who is advising him as far as his foreign policy, but I can tell you a dumb shrink in Des Moines, Iowa knows better than whoever's advising him now. And I hope to goodness it isn't Sam, because that guy's a smart guy. But whoever he's listening to, the part of the problem, at least for conservatives, is when you have a contract, and you know this as a lawyer.
Yep.
This is a contractual obligation. And because there's other things involved, it doesn't abrogate your responsibility to hold up your end of the bargain. And essentially what has happened is there's a lot of countries in NATO that have breached this NATO contract. The other thing that you have to keep in mind is over in Europe, NATO is not that popular. Even when I was a kid in the 80s, you would have people protesting against NATO with signs saying better red than dead. They're not understanding that, if you become red, you are dead anyway and a slave. So, it was difficult talking to them. Part of the other issue is, at least for fiscal conservatives, is they can't have their wonderful social programs if they had to pay what they should be paying for their own defense. That's what was one of the issues when we went into Libya, is honest to goodness, they were running short of munitions. And so we had to come in with ours. And you have that kind of issue going on. Now, Donald Trump, I don't agree with what he said. I do think that we need to sit down and have an honest conversation with them. But, the other thing, what did he say the other day when he was just, I'm just being sarcastic?
Yeah, we didn't. We were gone. We were off when he made the Second Amendment stuff. But he's talking about this when he was saying he was being sarcastic. He was talking about the Russian hack of the DNC emails.
Yeah,
that was just a sarcastic comment. Well, and that's the central problem with Donald Trump, at least in these last few weeks, is that if you're talking to a Donald Trump supporter even 6 months ago, the first thing they said they liked about him was that he says what he means, and he means what he says, and he doesn't care about political correctness, that you could trust what he said because he's authentic. Trump's authenticity was the single biggest factor about getting him through the Republican primary. So now he says something that sounds weird or is wrong or is a veiled threat in these interpretations, right? That's how people are interpreting things. He says something. People are outraged. Oh, I'm just kidding. And so the question becomes like, well, hold on a second.
How are you supposed to know?
Did you mean it? Did you mean what you said the first time, or do you mean what you say now? Because you're walking back that thing that you said. So let's take the DNC email thing, right? We say, hey, Russia, by the way, I want you to find Hillary Clinton's 33,000 emails. That's what he said. And the news media says, well, that sounds like you're encouraging a foreign country to hack your political opponent and try and find stuff that maybe could be used against her. That's what it sounds like. And he says, no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. So, but which is it? Because throughout the entire primary, he meant what he said.
Well, one of the things that I'm going to point out is when you're in the public eye, you have to say exactly what you mean, and you cannot use stories unless they're very black and white. You can't use alliteration. You can't use a lot of things you do in normal speech because you never know how that's going to be taken. I mean, I'm a perfect case in point. The problem is how do you tell the difference now? How do you go from, well, hold on, he's just clowning around and everything else? Part of the problem is he's our chief diplomat as well. So when he's over talking to Putin, I think he'll do just fine. I'm just going to, as a quick aside, everybody's going like, oh my God, he's involved with Russia. He's a billionaire. Everybody who's a billionaire is involved with everybody else, number one. Number two, his wife's Russian. His kids are half Russian. His kids have Russian friends.
Isn't she from Moldova? That's Russian, I suppose.
Well, back in the day, it was the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
So anyway, that I don't think is a story in and of itself. I mean, his ex-wife's Russian.
Well, right now they're more concerned about the money that Paul Manafort got from the. Well,
he denies that he got it.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. I don't know what to think about that because on the one hand, it's the denial came out and it seemed a little defensive. On the other hand, it's the accusations from that wacky president that it's coming from Timoshenko or no, from
Medvedev.
Oh, Dmitry said that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's on his way out over there.
Well, see, he seems a little bit more.
I could do an entire show on Russian politics
He seems a little bit more trustworthy than some of those guys in Ukraine.
He's not Dmitry. No, he's a scumbag oligarch.
Yeah,
hanging on to Putin.
I don't know. Anyway, I have no opinion about it. I'm just saying that maybe that's what people are concerned about now. I don't know.
Anyway, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about Hillary and the pile of dead bodies around the Clintons. Is that true? Is it BS? We'll be talking about that right after this break. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.